But I do believe that if we can put Ben Salango in the governor's mansion so at least someone will be there, and give him a blue state legislature with Sam Petsonk as Attorney General, Natalie Tennant as Secretary of State, and Ann Claytor as auditor, we can have a state that begins to do the hard work of recovering from this pandemic's horrendous economic and health impacts in a way that I hope and believe will not be dependent on propping up a dirty fossil fuel industry, but will encourage the growth of clean, green jobs.
One nation, under God, indivisible, in liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
And now that minute of silence.
For 150 years, West Virginia has seen billions of wealth extracted out of state by out-of-state corporations, and we've perpetually been one of the poorest states in the country. So, building back from this pandemic, we need to look at doing things differently. We need to build up the small businesses that actually keep wealth in our state. We need to bring in billions of dollars of investment in basic infrastructure that our state needs, in broadband, in safe drinking water, transportation, environmental reclamation, to put our abandoned mine sites back to use. This pandemic, I think, obviously has really highlighted the need for broadband internet, but that was the biggest issue that I heard about on the campaign trail even before the pandemic. I met with a young woman in Randolph County who moved back to where she was from and is now trying to run a video production business in rural Randolph County, which is obviously a challenge because of the internet. And if you just think of that story multiplied 100 times, 1,000.
Well, I am a ninth-generation West Virginian. I worked for our Senator Robert C. Byrd the last several years that he was in the U.S. Senate. I think many of you know I have been involved as a public legal services lawyer representing hundreds of coal miners across West Virginia. We've recovered millions of dollars in wages and health care and, for retirees and active workers across West Virginia, mostly coal miners, but also other factory workers and bank tellers and all sorts of people that need representation around our state. Our Attorney General, Patrick Morrisey, has filed a lawsuit without authority, without the approval of the people of West Virginia. And he is using his office and his lawsuit right now to try taking away health care from 1 out of 10 West Virginians. And 50,000 West Virginians receive addiction treatment and recovery services and through the federal health care programs that Morrisey would eliminate.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Natalie Tennant, and I'm running for Secretary of State in the state of West Virginia. Yeah! I'm running for Secretary of State because, just like you, I want a West Virginia that welcomes businesses, welcomes diversity, respects workers, and embraces innovation. I was Secretary of State for 8 years, and I was known as an innovator. We streamlined, we modernized the office, we saved businesses time and money, and we saved the people of West Virginia money and gave back millions of dollars. So I know that we can do this when we all work together. And that's what this race has come down to. It's come down to dignity and decency. First day on the job, my opponent illegally fired 16 people. And it cost the state $4 million, the largest payout in state history. So you want to talk about decency and dignity? That's what we're talking about in this race, because it does matter how you treat people, because it translates into the policies that you put in place also.
We've lost 50% of our dairy farms here in the state of West Virginia. We've lost 722 small farms. This has all been in the last 4 to 5 years. We do have a plan to bring dairy farms back to the state with a tax credit. We have problems in the hemp. We already have a plan in place to fix hemp. So again, a lot going on right now in agriculture. We have some plans that we want to grow agriculture. We want to fix the dairy farms. We want to put those greenhouses in play and obviously take advantage of hemp here in the state of West Virginia. A lot of opportunities there. A lot of our farmers out there, we need an education component in that as well. A lot of farmers are just focused on the top 10 to 12 inches of that plant for the CBD oil, but everything underneath that is fiber content. And that's textiles, that's hemp plastics, hemp concrete, 20,000 other products we can manufacture by using the fiber. But again, I'm Bob Beach, candidate for Commissioner of Agriculture.
My name is Ann Claytor, and I'm running for West Virginia State Auditor. My opponent is a lawyer with a political communications degree. I am an auditor. I am the only one that actually has an accounting degree and over 22 years experience as being a real auditor, worked for the West Virginia State Auditor's Office, and over 30 years of governmental accounting experience. I'm the type of leader that believes that you have to be accountable for the things that you are responsible for and be transparent about the things that you are responsible for before you start pushing things on other people. It's our money, and we need somebody that's going to be in there fighting to protect our money, and someone that can withstand political pressure. I've done it for my 22 years because, believe it or not, I audited Republicans and Democrats. Don't you all believe we need integrity in the financial numbers that are coming out? And that's one thing everybody will be able to know about Mary Ann Claytor, is that I work for the citizens of West Virginia.
The last 4 years, I've been able to represent the 36th district, kind of the other half of the county, in the House of Delegates. I've prided myself in being one of those individuals that's willing to fight for real West Virginians, to dig in on issues and actually do the work, because I really enjoy the legislative work and being in the building and working with people outside of legislative session, and not just talking about issues, not just advertising that, you know, we're tackling the drug epidemic, but actually digging in. And last year I spent many hours and many days having one-on-one meetings with people that are involved in rehabilitation and treatment and substance abuse issues, and digging into those issues. And I've prided myself on being one of those individuals that somebody could call 24 hours a day, any time of year, and ask me if I could help with an issue. I really feel that West Virginia's economy could grow, and the best way to make it grow is to educate our workforce, put a skill in every one of our citizens' hands. I want to get in the state Senate and work on these issues and dig in deeper on issues rather than just talk about them in a campaign year. Actually get in and get something done and move West Virginia forward.
I ended up diagnosed with late-stage testicular cancer, and I didn't have insurance at the time. We're around 4.5 weeks into the recovery process. Again, I found myself in excruciating pain, and that's when we learned that in the time I spent battling bureaucrats, when I should have been battling cancer, the cancer spread. And now I have an inoperable tumor in my back, and I'm going to have to deal with that for the rest of my life. And so I started going to the Capitol every day. If the lawmakers were there, I was there. And, I started telling my story basically to anybody who would listen. And, when I first started, they said, you might want to tone it down. It's not a good idea to, come up here and openly admit that you just used an illegal substance. But we didn't stop. We got organized. I did my best to build the grassroots movement that was responsible for the passage of the West Virginia Medical Cannabis Act, and I'm extremely proud of the work that we were able to do as citizens. I have made friends with lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. I've learned how to navigate the process, and I feel like if I'm fortunate enough to be one of the 4 candidates representing the 35th district, I'm in a unique position to be able to move legislation.
And the main reason I'm running again is because our current leadership, they just have our priorities all mixed up. It's ridiculous. We have to put West Virginians first. I want to be a destination state where people come to, not a departure state where people leave. We need to focus on small businesses. We need to look at the entrepreneurs. We always continue to go after and give out all these huge tax breaks to try to attract and dangle a carrot to get these big companies to come here. But what about those 2- and 3-person businesses that are really the backbone of West Virginia? That's what I focus on as a small business person. I think we have a lot of people who could start out of their garage. And if we had good broadband across our state, you could see many, many companies popping up and starting here. And we have a nursing shortage going on right now. And as we bounce out of COVID, we're going to need more and more nurses and health professionals. Why not pick industries where we need help and encourage students at a young age in high school to go to those programs, and your complete college loan will be forgiven if you stay in state and work in one of those fields where we have a need.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Kathy Ferguson. I'm running for the West Virginia House of Delegates in the 35th District. People are hurting all around the state and all around this county. There are a lot of things that are happening in terms of our just basic bread and butter issues: food, water, clothing, shelter, healthcare. All these things are priorities for folks, and these are things that I believe that we have to attend to, and we have to start putting people first, and that's the mantra of my campaign. So I really just feel very confident and very strongly about the need to have folks that look like multiple types of people. You can't have everybody that looks the same, that thinks the same, that went to the same school, that has the same insular type of vision for a state, because you're going to get the same results. We need people with unique backgrounds, unique experiences, who see the world through a different set of lenses to really progress the state. I consider myself to be a progressive candidate. I may not be the most progressive candidate. I know that I'm not a perfect candidate, but I do know that my causes are perfect. And with your help, I believe that we can turn this county around. I believe we can turn the state around, and we can make it one that wins and grows for everybody.